Hey, welcome to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. You got guest host today instead of Drive Safe Dave. You got Double Check Dale on this side, and you got Buckle Up Bob
Buckle
on
Up
their
Bob.
side. Buckle up. How you doing today?
I'm doing well, and we've got Miss
Brittany McNeely, dealer, uptime advocate for Southwest International Trucks. You just want to bring her in, and we'll just start that interview
She's
right
in.
on.
She's right there.
All right.
Hi, Brittany.
Hey, Brittany, how you doing today?
Great.
So, Brittany, what is a dealer uptime advocate? I gotta say, I've never heard it.
So the dealer uptime advocate is really someone that is doing extensive support for the customers and the fleet, giving them an experience on the road and off the road, and driving them back into the dealer for continued support.
Awesome.
Awesome. That is great. Keep you busy. Does that job keep you busy?
It does.
Hey, did you also help launch Women of Southwest initiative to extend extra hand of support to women? Can you touch on that briefly, and then we got a few questions for you to follow up?
Yes. So the Women in Navistar was our initiative to actually launch it within Southwest. Just providing a program with the women and the males within our dealership, just for continued support and just being connected and creative and being involved in the community and within the business so that we could be successful together.
Good. I see here, one of the things is, one of the questions is, why is it important for a company to understand the data portion of trucking, like idle time?
So idle time, any of the data really that is provided through the platforms that are out there today are beneficial for a fleet to have, providing driver behavioral, idle time, mileage for IFTA compliance, advanced preventative maintenance, fleet health monitoring. Really just having the data and the in-look of that asset so that you have the history and knowing ahead of time for repairs or what you can do in the future to better assure the stronger fleet to keep on the road and less downtime.
So as an advocate for uptime in that and all the data, because man, there is so much more data out there today than there was 5-10 years ago. Do you also help them understand and set up the reports, how to use the data wisely?
I do. I customize the reports through these platforms to benefit the customer to their needs because every fleet is different. So it's really just how it helps them out in the best way to make their fleet efficient.
So do you also work with owner-operators and the one-off type person? Can they have access to the same data?
Absolutely.
That's really good because, as owner-operators right now, it's pretty tough times. They've got to really understand the data, get all the data they can, use it wisely to make the best decisions because it is some pretty tough times, especially with fuel prices going where they are and this time of year, freight being down a little bit.
Of course.
The ELD mandate came out in 18, I believe it was, where you couldn't use the AOBRDs, and a lot of that was driven by law enforcement and the DOT wanting more data, right, that they weren't getting from the old ones. So what technologies have been launched to help companies better understand that data?
So Geotab and Samsara are really good to partner with to have the electronic driver's log. So you can have a backlog of everything that driver's been doing and the roads and the trips that he's been taking.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I know we had a existing ELD and it was given to me to vet new ELDs, and we went with Samsara. So a big fan of theirs. Just from taking the data and not giving the driver a chance to learn and educate and not be so critical of them. In other words, we don't have to punish or discipline or corrective action because it's more coaching that they can do and help the driver understand that they're not bad drivers, but at any certain moment it alerts them that they're in an unsafe situation so they can correct it.
For
yeah,
sure.
and then as they start looking at it and using that data more and start to understand it, then they start to be able to run their business a little bit more wisely.
Yeah, because we want to prevent one of the big things I believe that the industry needs to do is educate more than get rid of drivers. We're short, right? The industry's short. And so the more that you can educate, and we do that a lot here on BCB Live, but we want to educate, and and the way to do that is with data. I know Samsara, we've talked to customers over the years or other companies, and they said it's taken like a year, maybe sometimes a year and a half to get the right settings so that the data's really giving them a true picture of what their drivers are doing and some of their habits. Do you get involved with any of that as well?
I really don't get involved on that portion of it. I just educate on what the platform can actually provide, and then I let them monitor the driver behavioral portion of it so that they can make the best decisions off of that.
Gotcha.
Hey, so, right now, like I said, times are tough, especially for owner-operators can be tough. And so, how important is preventive maintenance in your line of work? Is that something that you can say that sometimes we should put it in the back burner because I really can't afford it right now?
So preventative maintenance is extremely important to keep up with. It minimizes the downtime for the fleet or for that asset. I think sometimes the focus of the failure that is present and it's forgot about in the back burner because of the lack of maintenance that was put into that asset. So I really think it's important to keep those intervals up, and will provide less downtime for that asset.
And I'm going to quick follow up with another question, because that preventive maintenance, do you see a higher trade-in value or resale value when you can show good preventive maintenance all the way through a truck's history?
I would say it would be a higher value for sure if you have the maintenance records on it showing and providing that the asset was taken care of to the extent.
So a lot like your personal car. I've done it. I've handed them a binder with all the oil changes and all the preventive maintenance, and they said, "Really?" I said, "Yep." And you're right. You get some of them will put an extra $1,000 on just for that. But one of the things, the recalls I think every manufacturer's probably at some point had a recall in the trucking industry. Has Southwest International had any that you know of, or?
I think recalls are just common across the board with any make and model. I think that addressing them early on is important because that's also the safety of the driver, the safety of the people on the road, as well as the health of the asset later down the road.
Have the Southwest, are they considered one of the leaders in the safety mitigation systems on the truck, in the trucking industry? Or are they kind of the same as everybody else? Is one known? Are Southwest, or do they have maybe above and beyond the safety protocols on the vehicles themselves?
I think we all follow the same procedures as all dealers. As they are released, we all try to reach out to the customers and let them know and try to address it so it's not keeping them down any or having any issues in the future. I think we all have that same mindset in dealerships.
Okay. We have one of the things that we see in the industry is there's very few women in the industry, and I think that's trying to change. And again, you were instrumental, I guess, in the Southwest Initiative, right, with the women. And
Yes.
and would you recommend any company to do that, no matter how many women they have, or do you need a certain number to really kind of get it to kick off, or can you do it with
not
one?
at all. I encourage everyone in the industry to reach out in their community and within their dealership or in their office and join. I think it's a great program to host within your little circle for sure.
Yeah, I know. We've promoted on BCB Live the women in trucking and go to the conferences and stuff like that. And so I do think it's. I know from our little company that we've got about, I'll say 8 to 10 women, and they are truly
Drivers.
professionals.
Drivers.
Yeah. You're right. We got more than that in our industry, but drivers, just drivers, and they are just phenomenal with their safety records and just the caring of the industry itself. So, want to really give a shout out to all that.
So why, and I think it's a great initiative. So what drove you to get it started, or to start looking to get women more involved in the transportation or in Southwest International?
So, like I said, it was the women in Navistar that really initiated it for us. So we wanted, once they launched it, we wanted to get together and try to follow suit and offer the same things within our dealerships at each location. to really step outside the lines and reach for the highest mountaintop as a team together and just be really involved and connected and really do the better for our community.
And Brittany, you said it several times, and I don't think I've clearly heard it. I just want to make sure the viewers hear it. You said the women of something helped to get you started. What was that again?
The women in Navistar.
Navistar?
Yeah, international. Okay.
Okay.
So does Navistar have a program similar to that? Were you able to piggyback off it, or was this just something that you were able to start up on your own?
So we pretty much piggybacked off of it. They started it, and we just rolled it out within our dealership. So we follow them pretty heavily.
Outstanding. I mean, you know, getting good qualified individuals in your company, no matter what, is always important. Like I said, with women, their attention to detail, and I'm not putting guys down at all, but I mean, I just know women's attention to detail and their focus sometimes is so much better and really brings a lot to the table. So I think that's just a great initiative. What other advantages have you seen by, you know, bringing more women into Navistar and into Southwest?
Really, we're still in the early on stages, so there's still a lot to come and to grow. So I think right now, just us coming together and grow and put ideas is the start for us.
That's terrific.
Yep.
And it says here you currently oversee 20,000 vehicles?
I do. I monitor about 20,000 bins. They are monitored and touched each day. I help with the breakdowns, assist the breakdowns, and getting the customers into the dealership and making sure that I see from point A to B is the repairs. They're being taken care of to get them back out on the road as soon as possible.
Okay. Let me make sure. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, Brittany, like I said, do you have any other topics or anything else you want to, you know, go in depth on, or something that we haven't asked? Something, you know, this is your time to, you know, hey, I really believe in this.
I think that's all I really had. I really appreciate y'all having me on. This was a great opportunity.
Yes, and we hope to have you back. One of the things, Brittany, we do ask that everybody that's on the show say, you know, hey, this is your name, who you're with, and that you are listening to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
I'm Brittany McNeely with Southwest International Trucks, and you're watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
Great job, Brittany.
Great job.
We hope to see you on the show again, dear.
Hey, Brittany, thanks for coming on the show with us today.
Appreciate you very much. All right. So there goes, you know, Brittany. I mean, it amazes me that more and more women are they're starting things, you know,
Yep.
just that initiative. You know, they'll get something and they just kind of go with it. You know, I'm a procrastinator. I got to make sure I've ruled out everything that could go wrong instead of let's just jump in and go and then figure it out as we go sometimes.
Yeah. Hey, we need to, this would be a good idea, and they just jump on it and get it started. I love that. I love that a bunch. So
Yes, sir. Hey, we're going to take a quick break and be right back with a little bit of weather maybe and some more topics.
That happens, the service that trucking company that the next driver receives is bad.
Energy problems that we're having and not releasing it and over in Russia and the restriction of fuel and our international trade. I see that compounding it and making it really difficult, because I guarantee you, when it gets cold and the distillates are starting to get running at a higher premium, diesel's going to go up.
I want to thank you for being on BCB Live.
Thanks, Andy. Appreciate you.
Hey, appreciate you, Andy. Have a good one, buddy. Thank you for joining BCB Live. I want to thank each and every one. Hey, thank you for taking time to join BCB Live.
I want to thank you for coming on and shedding light.
Thank you so much. Loved having you on here. Woo! Great job. Bob Clara, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, welcome back to BCB Live. You know, this week, Bob, we've been talking about HOS and logging guidance. You know, the previous 2 days it was personal conveyance, the do's and the don'ts. Today, we're going to talk about on-duty time.
And what is on-duty time?
If you have to be there for your job, that's on-duty time. You know, and a lot of drivers will try, you know, it's one of the ways they try saving times on their logs. And it's not a good idea because ELDs, we talked about a little bit in the interview, I mean, they really give us a lot of data. The DOT, the officers, roadside officers have that data. So what on-duty time and the proper logging of it just helps them not look deeper, not dig deeper. Drivers, fuel stops are an on-duty time. Don't put 30 seconds down for a 200-gallon fuel stop because they'll say, really can't do that. Your pre-trips, your post-trips, your roadside inspections, all those things, you know, especially a roadside inspection, your fuel stops, they come with time-stamped documents. It's very easy for an officer to get a hold of those, enforcement to get a hold of those and compare them in an audit or a roadside inspection. So, you know, do it like you log it like you do it. Roadside pre-trips, post-trips, do them. If it takes you 20 minutes to do a good pre-trip, log it. Show the officer that you care about your equipment, that you want that safe equipment running up and down the road. So, you know, on duty, if you have to be there for your job, it is on duty. And so just remember that. Log it the right way, drivers.
Yeah, you know, I cringe when a driver says, how long should I do a pre-trip? And I just kind of puzzle look at it, and they go, what? And I go, well, how long does it take you?
Yeah.
Well, the last company said 15 minutes. I said, you realize all that started because paper logs only had 15-minute increments. It's whatever it takes you to do it.
Yeah.
You know, with the e-logs, it's like, hey, like Drive Safe Dave's, or Drive Safe. Oh, my goodness. Like Double Check Dale says, you know, log as you go as you log, and that is the best way. You can't never be accused of falsifying a log if you're logging as you go. What are you doing? Well, then it's this, right? I've heard over the years in the industry that drivers, you know, they say, well, there's a gray area. There's really not. If you look in the Federal Motor Carrier book, it gives a small little paragraph. It says on-duty time is blah, 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 right? But then it goes on, it says on-duty time shall include, and then it goes into 9 different paragraphs, okay? And it'll say time spent servicing, time spent in attendance of a disabled commercial motor vehicle. But then one of the big ones that we deal with is at a customer, right? And it says in there, paragraph 4 says, on-duty time shall include all time spent at the property of a shipper, receiver, motor carrier, you know, other than time that you've been relieved from duty by the property motor carrier. Well, paragraph 4 actually says all time spent in or on the commercial motor vehicle is on-duty time other than time spent resting in or on the commercial motor vehicle. So basically, you know, there is no gray area. If you're at a customer and you're not required to work, basically you're in the cab or the bunk and you're resting, right? Because that's what the rule says. Time in or on the commercial motor vehicle spent resting. Then you can be off duty. And then there's also a subparagraph. That was one subparagraph. The other one is if you're a team, 2 hours in the passenger seat can be off-duty time. So, again, it's pretty cut and dry, the on-duty time. They really do make it, you know, if you're servicing the truck, that is not a gray area. That includes if you do anything to the truck. That includes washing the truck. It's considered servicing, right?
Yep.
So, you know, you get an oil change, you're changing a mud flap, you're washing the truck. These are all servicing the truck, and so therefore they must be on duty. So just log as you go and go as you log, and you just can't get into trouble.
No, and you can't. And if you ever have an accident and they pull your logs up and you've done that, it's a whole lot easier to defend.
Yes, and I go to a safety council here in Texas, and once a month, and we have probably no fewer than 30 to 40 law enforcement officials there at every meeting. And I've got to know them and talk to them. And one of the things on your logs, drivers out there and companies, you need to get, if you're not doing this, push it. You need to have notations on the logs. Every duty status, other than the drive line, right? Because that automatically kicks you there. But every duty status should have a comment in it. That's what they're looking for. They don't want to see, You know, hey, I'm on duty, roadside inspection. I guess that would be okay. I'm trying to think of one where drivers just don't put anything.
Well, a lot of times they just don't because the paper logs, they got in the habit of not telling more than they had to.
Right.
And like I said earlier, on ELDs, all the information is there. You're just filling the blanks and making it easier for the officer to look and to follow what you're saying.
Yeah, if you're forced to move in the middle of a break, and so now you got to go to the personal conveyance line to get to the safe haven because law enforcement officials are requiring you to move, put that in there. Don't just hit personal conveyance. Put in there mile marker or rest area, blah, 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 on this officer required me to move, or whatever the case may be, so that it's detailed. If you're looking for a truck stop, this is a big one, right? And you pull in and it's full. Don't just say truck stop full. The more information you put on there, one of the recommendations is, hey, Love's truck stop, mile marker 88, I-95 northbound, right? Full. And then go to the next one. But stop, come on duty, and put that note in there. Many drivers over the years I've heard say, well, I stopped and it was full, and there's 0 on their log. It doesn't even show that they stopped, that there was any pause in the mileage. I mean, it just kept churning. So, again, stop, go on duty, put it in there. It's just going to save you a lot of hassle on a DOT inspection or a roadside inspection.
Yep. There you go. Those are your today's logging tips. Hey, let's look at some videos.
Yes. So again, this is what the industry itself is just fighting, is this visual that, to the naked eye, this looks like you've got plenty of space. But technology is able to tell us we're in an unsafe situation. Does not tell us the driver's a bad driver. It just says, driver, at this particular moment, you are in an unsafe following distance, and if something goes wrong, you could be in trouble.
Yep.
So now it becomes your decision. Stop means stop. There's a railroad crossing. You know, we see more and more stop signs being ran at customers or drop yards, whatever this may or may not be. But they put those stop signs there for a reason. And my guess is the rail.
Yeah.
Right? You've got a railroad crossing right there.
Yeah, you guys, there's a reason they put it up. They just don't put it up to irritate drivers. Something has happened, or they've seen something get really close there that says, hey, we need to do something to warn the drivers, to warn individuals that they need to stop. They need to take that look, because trains will always win.
And always remember, too, drivers, if you're pulling hazmat, you are required by law to stop. Whether there's a train coming or not, you must stop, just like a school bus, at every railroad crossing. You don't have an option.
Nope. You know, Bob, I love this one. I love this one here. Here's a driver that sees, hey, the intersection is stopped up and everything, and he stops well back on the line, waits for it to clear out before he goes on. That's just great patience, you know. He may miss this light, but you know what? He's doing the safe thing.
Yeah, and you know, one of the positive things you can always do is, you know, say, hey, okay, if I don't make this light, guess what? I'm first in line on the next one. Yep. Right? So, yeah, you know, one of the things I think is the greatest characteristic of the safest driver is patience. Because when you look at quick lane changes or running red lights or yellows, right? You speed up on a yellow. That is nothing more than impatience, right? Just slow down. One of the things I heard in one of the aggressive driving training modules years ago was, don't make good time. Make the time good. And I just love that, because that's what it is. Be patient and make that time good. Don't make good time, because that means requires speeding, tailgating potentially, erratic lane changes. But if you make the time good, then you're being safe, and you're going to arrive safe and alive. So.
Yep. Hey, and the drivers, whoever's attending today, has made their time good watching BCB Live.
The safest station in the nation.